Menopause belly fat isn't just about how your genes fit. It's actually a warning sign. This type of fat is wrapped around your organs and increases the chance of heart disease, plus other diseases like dementia and diabetes. Did you know that in the UK and the USA, heart disease is the biggest killer of women? So, as menopausal women, it is something that we do need to pay attention to, because normally we've got a ton of belly fat since we've gotten older. But here's the good news. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you some powerful tools that can help you get rid of that visceral fat and protect your health without extreme diets or hours in the gym. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal and I am the CEO of Body by Bikini, and I have helped over 13,000 women transform their body and their health. And we're getting to the stage in life, aren't we, where we're really concerned about our health. But what I'm about to show you, this isn't about quick fixes. It's about making some amazing changes that work with your hormones, not against them. I'm going to cover 5 steps that will reduce your visceral fat and put you in better health, but also you're going to get amazing shape. But let's hear from someone called Nakia Hall first. Nakia is my client, and as you can see in this picture, she got rid of her belly fat, which also meant she shrunk her visceral fat, and she'd actually lost 14 pounds of fat in a matter of couple of months. And as a result, she not only looked better, but she felt better, but importantly, she was in better health.
You probably already know me because you have seen me in a bikini. Women like me, meaning women that's older, who's tried several different things and it just didn't seem to work. I can tell you physically, I have lost 14 pounds, but I think for me, the most important thing is mentally. Mentally, I feel more confident. I used to take a picture and look at it and wonder, who is that lady? I saw myself getting older. I saw the weight coming on, but I really didn't know what to do to get it off. It's just helped me feel more confident in my skin by saying, hey, if I follow the nutrition, if I do the work, I can lose the weight. I can look better. I can feel better. You care about us. You care about the women that you're speaking to. You care about us older women, and you realize that it is a struggle, but we don't have to stay there. And I can say for my family, what they've learned from me is that hard work, it really does pay off. They watch me say no to the cookies, the cakes, the ice cream, but they watch me go to the gym, they watch me meal prep, and they see that it works.
So how did Nakia do it and how can you do it? Well, let's talk about my 5 steps. Step 1 is complex carbohydrates. Now, we can often fear carbohydrates, and I give all of the women on my programs carbohydrates, and they do exceptionally well on it, because I don't like extremely low carb diets for women at this stage in life. And often you can find, if you do like a low carb diet, what that means is it's actually a high fat diet, and you can end up still storing visceral fat and belly fat. Now, when we get to menopause, we're going to have visceral fat stored around our midsection, and that's because our estrogen levels are declining. And what happens when our estrogen levels are declining? Our bodies try to make more estrogen, and when we do that, it actually produces more fat, and it typically sits around your midsection. The other thing is we have something called insulin resistance, and insulin resistance is when our bodies cannot control our blood sugars, and so we get blood sugar spikes, and that causes more fat storage, and guess what? It's around your midsection. So to combat that, we want to avoid sugary foods. So that's refined sugar, that's not fruit, it's refined sugar and refined carbohydrates. And we want to swap those for complex carbohydrates. So that's starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes, carrots, yams, even potatoes. And then the other complex carbs are whole grains. So that's things like black rice, oats, quinoa, which is actually a seed rather than a grain. They are amazing for women at this stage in life and tackling visceral fat. So what are the benefits of those carbohydrates? Well, you're going to reduce your insulin spikes because they're slow releasing through the day. They're better for controlling your calories because they tend to be lower in calories. And they're also better for your gut health. And we can find we have real problems with our gut health at this time in life. And problems with your gut health can prevent you from losing body fat and losing belly fat. And another tip of mine, try and leave a 12-hour gap between your last evening meal and when you have your first meal of the day, in other words, breakfast, because that's going to give you kind of like a slight fast and your body time to recover and digest the food, and it's also going to help with your insulin levels. Strength training also tackles insulin resistance, but I'm going to talk about that later on in this video. Step 2, you want to be incorporating whole foods that heal. Cut out ultra processed foods, and we've talked about cutting out refined sugar and refined carbohydrates. Avoid sugary snacks and definitely avoid alcohol. Instead, lean into high protein foods. So I'm talking about Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is actually higher in protein than standard yogurt because those are fermented foods, so they're going to heal your gut. Lean into salmon, chia seeds, flax seeds, avocados and green leafy vegetables are all amazing healing foods that are going to help you reduce that midsection. Try to eat protein at every single meal and snack. That's what I do and the women on my programs do, and they see incredible results just by taking that protein high. And you can see Nakia there, she really dramatically lost a large amount of fat from her midsection by incorporating high protein eating. So what would that look like? Well, breakfast could be something like eggs and whole grain toast with maybe a protein shake on the side. Or one of my favourites is actually protein and oats with Greek yogurt and berries. Lunch could be chicken, black rice and vegetables, or chicken, beans and vegetables. Or if you're plant-based, tempeh is amazing because it's a fermented food. But tempeh or tofu for your main dinner with, again, something like black beans because it's going to bump that protein intake, and lots of veggies or salad. Dinner could be something like steamed or baked salmon with veggies, and you can snack on, again, things like Greek yogurt and protein shakes with berries in them. Step 3, focus on movement that works, because some movement doesn't actually work, and that's like tons of cardio. Lean into lifting weights, that's what Nakia did, 3 or 4 times a week, because putting on muscle is actually going to tackle that insulin resistance that we talked about earlier. Like a sponge that soaks up those blood sugar spikes, it actually prevents and tackles belly fat. And strength training, it has so many added benefits because it's going to give you better bone health, better stability and mobility as you age. When we talk about cardio, we don't want to fit in too much cardio. I like 2 types of cardio. There's kind of zone 2 cardio. So there's an example of that is walking with a weighted vest. I walk with a weighted vest. Nakia actually did her zone 2 cardio on a stair climber. And then the other one is high intensity interval training, because high intensity interval training boosts your metabolism. But don't do more than 30 minutes per session, because what you can find is it actually decreases your muscle mass. And we are more interested in building and retaining muscle at this stage in life, because that's what's going to boost our metabolism and get us more fat burning. Some of my favourite exercises are the squat. Then you've got things like a deadlift, and you've got your push movements and you've got your pull movements. all of those are compound movements that use multiple muscle groups, so they're really going to help you burn that visceral fat. If you would love to have a coach to help you with all of that, click the link below to find more about my Platinum coaching service and apply. Step 4, you've got to master your cortisol. Now, as we get older, our hormones are raging, particularly in the perimenopause and postmenopause stage. And too much cortisol in our bodies actually is linked with more belly fat. So we do need to get on top of our stress. Try something for 10 minutes though, don't make it onerous. So it could be meditation, mindfulness, breath work, yoga, or even journaling. Even 5 minutes of calm time can really help to reduce those cortisol levels and therefore get a better fat burning. Step number 5, you need to fix your sleep. There is a strong correlation between sleep and fat loss, or if we look at it the other way around, lack of sleep and fat gain, particularly around your midsection. So sleep can make our hormones go off even more at this stage in life, as can cortisol. And so what that does is lead to more fat storage and more fat storage around our midsection. We know that you can actually make your insulin resistance worse as well with lack of sleep. And so if you've got a lack of sleep, the other thing is your hormones, ghrelin and leptin, that control appetite actually go off. So you can find that you have more cravings for high salt, high sugar, high fat foods that don't do you any favours. So I want you to practice the 10-3-2-1 rule. So what is that? It's no caffeine 10 hours before bed. So you want to stop drinking coffee in the afternoon really and just stick to the mornings. And it's no heavy meals 3 hours before bed, because heavy meals can disrupt your sleep and make you have a really bad night's sleep. And it's no fluids 2 hours before bed, because if we drink just before bedtime, it's going to make us want to go to the bathroom in the night. And no screen time 1 hour before bed, because if you have close screen time, it has this blue reflected light, which is really highly stimulating. And even if you get to sleep okay, it can make you wake up later in the night or in the early hours of the morning. And remember, keep your bedroom cool, because we do tend to get hot at this time in life. Eat magnesium-rich foods or take a magnesium supplement just before bed. And have a consistent bedtime routine. So if you found those tips helpful for reducing visceral belly fat, let me know in the comments section. And do remember that you can apply for my Platinum coaching program, where all of this can be actually written specifically for you, and you can work with a coach who's going to get you to your goal, whether that's getting rid of belly fat, wearing swimwear on your next vacation, or wearing that sparkling dress in the back of your closet.